leaders. The crash dummy of the week is Kyle Rittenhouse.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yes, sir.
Talk about that because I don't know if you guys are watching that stuff.
Fli-City got some dogs in it, dogs in it. Fli-City come off authentic, authentic. We light it up like sauce in the sauce in the We light it up like sauce in the sauce in the Fli-City got some dogs in it, dogs in it. Fli-City come off authentic, authentic. We light it up like sauce in the sauce in the We light it up like sauce in the sauce in the Rain may come, we cover for it, it's a cover charge. Cover charge. Pain come in, we force ourselves to be stronger for it. Stronger for it. Northside slum, prison bids, and I'm better for it. I'm better for it. Representing Fli-City, now make some noise. Random corners, pushing packs. Looking back, hand ups, ain't seen no pass. Fli-City got a city tax. Body bags, ski masks. Crying waves, I speak to God. City giving richer vibes. Beat knocks through the speaker box, we don't speak a lot, just move around. Water dirty, streets dirty, whip clean. We okay, we grew up on survival schemes, rider dreams, Lion King. The jungle seems like peace to me. Struggles led to victories, now picture me 6 months out, I'm on my feet, on the business. Talks with Maddie, on the business. Run the city, leak with all the owners in it. Minus since we bless the city with our agenda. Hustlers, open finish, all that deals is open to us. Just push a lane, this crooked man, and we straighten out. Straighten out what they tearing down. North side, south side, east side, west side, peace signs. We try to get this city side, west side, north side, south side, east side, west side, Fli-City, south side, east side, Fli-City. Got some dogs in the city, come off authentic, authentic. We light it up like sauce in the sauce in the sauce. We light it up like sauce in the sauce in the sauce. Fli-City got some dogs in it, dogs in it. Fli-City come off authentic, authentic. We light it up like sauce in the sauce in the sauce. We light it up like sauce in the sauce in the sauce.
My city experiencing a transition from penny pinching, maximizing our dollars, multiply triple digits. I came a long way from baby jars in a project kitchen. Nowadays I read grab charts and just mind my business. All praise to the Most High, how this young king living. Resurrecting the spirit of Osiris, how I'm living. Hustle and motivate your local hope dealer. I'm on tour right now, and I'm dope with it. They lied to us, stole assets, still in crisis mode. Water warriors like 1,001, we will not fold. I'm sick of fugazi leaders and career politicians. The father said people perish due to lack of vision. It's time to rise, black lives, baby, it's on the flow. Bet it back, no 9 to 5, only 10 to 4. A city of monsters, a bunch of go-getters. We don't rock with starters, we too authentic.
We don't rock with starters, we too authentic.
We don't rock with
starters, we too authentic. We don't rock with starters, we too authentic. We don't rock with starters, we too authentic. We don't rock with starters, we too authentic. We don't rock with starters, we too authentic. We don't rock with starters, we too authentic. We don't rock with starters, we too authentic.
Let's hear that.
Yeah, you keep all that.
Peace and blessings, peace and blessings.
Hey, community.
Yeah, man, it is joy to be back.
Always a joy to be back. Another day in the neighborhood.
Come on now.
Won't you be mine? Your neighbor.
Come on, won't you be my neighbor?
My neighbor.
See? So, man, listen, it's that village concept, and definitely we are neighbors.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We are in the neighborhood, right? You know, in our streets is Flint, you know, in the community where we belong, and hopefully just engaging with some like-minded individuals who really understand what's going on, but want to create a pathway to success, right?
Right.
Build this robust community that we all believe in.
And when you say that, you know, always we want to acknowledge our audience, and we continue to work to build this platform to make it a real highlight in our community, because we want to be engaged in some life lifting and changing our community, because again, one thing that we can be serious about, we're going to be consistent.
Come on now.
And in that consistency, we want to be truthful and honest in all of our approach. And even if we make a mistake, we are big enough and founded enough to apologize.
All the time.
None of us are sitting here acting like we know everything, but what we are working to do to have a clear understanding where we can build some consistency with all of us and really get behind some ideas where changes can happen.
And I think that's the thing. I think being knowledgeable, but then also being truthful with self, right? Just
Hmm.
understanding that our words is powerful, and everything that we say, we want to definitely back it up with facts, more or less. Ensure that we know what we're talking about. So, but then also we do appreciate our audience for checking in, researching, looking at some of the information that we are providing,
Right.
and then also just coming back with some additional feedback. I think that makes us all in a position of being very educated and learning. And we feed off of you all, especially the ones that's be in the chat, just be kind of dumping in information and stuff like that. We really appreciate that. That's something that, we reflect on after the show is over, after we're going back into our silos and looking at what the show, was, what did, and just making sure we collecting the right information and putting it out there right back on the forefront.
Right. And then, in our community, you guys are a part of this. So we would love to hear from you for topics because we're about moving things forward, not just wallowing in mess and complaining. We're about making some things happen. So please, community, call in, call us, or text, or whatever you need to do, because this is your platform. We want
Right.
you to be a part of this. And again, how's everybody doing? We are glad to be here, glad to be alive, and excited to be here.
I'm telling you. So you know what how's your week been going?
It's always interesting, challenging. I
Mhm.
mean, I guess it wouldn't be fun if it wasn't challenging. But even in the challenges, um, it still kind of teaches you how to be nimble,
Mhm.
even when some things don't turn out for you. How not to allow those things to knock you down where you don't get up.
Mhm.
So it's been an exciting week so far.
Come on now. I think I can say the same.
Right,
I think a lot of times we go through life and we have all our own trials and tribulations, but
right.
I think more or less, we get up every day and intend to be the best that we can. I know one of the things that I do intend to work on every day is just really, getting in the right mindset. And the right mindset is waking up in the morning, meditating, eating right,
Hmm. Hmm.
but then also exercising. I'm trying to get all those different things. It's all about mind, body, and soul.
Right.
If you can get those things on one accord, while you're out here living your daily life, and then also, contribute to the work and civilization that we do here, it makes the work even better. I think I feel better. I feel good, and I want to treat my people in the community with respect and understanding, and just be thankful for the opportunity to be living and breathing.
Yeah, yeah.
More importantly, so
And I think when you say that, I mean, I echo that. That's what my the history impact is going to be dealing with some health issues and some things that we can simply be doing today. But sometime the day I got up and I put on a little bit of Miles Davis kind of blue,
come on,
and I was kind of thinking about Huey Newton and them,
mm,
because sometimes we find ourselves really engaged in this work.
mm-hmm. Yep.
And sometimes you ask yourself, it's almost like, the echo chamber. We putting in the work
Mm-hmm.
and wanting to encourage people to get involved in the work. And sometimes, I just reflect on, what those brothers were thinking,
Mm-hmm.
and trying to really, really feel them and those sisters, because sometimes that energy can be so depleted.
And I think you just moved me when you said that, man. Just even talking about the late great Huey Newton and what he stood for, man. I always talk about, man, those folks, those brothers and sisters, they weren't no dummies.
No, oh
They was
no.
they was very, very educated on the work that they were doing. And even though that they were out there on the front lines every day, all day, they always took the time out to study and reconnect to the spirit of the work that they're doing,
Hmm.
right?
Right, right.
Talking about. Huey was a very powerful brother. I think we fail to realize everything that he contribute to.
Yes.
Even beyond the Black Panther Party, and I
Yes.
always want to give big reverence to the Black Panther Party because a lot of those systems and those methods that they used back then still hold true to today.
Still hold true today. I
Mhm.
mean, you think how powerful that was.
Right.
And even in the face of that, wanting to deny the essence of that truth,
Mhm.
I think that's what's continued to be just a dehumanizing experience in this country, as far as every step we make forward or the triple steps or what have you, there's a constant effort to just destroy it. And when you have people that have no understanding about their history,
Mhm.
then they go along with this insanity thinking that it's normal.
Oh man, listen, you bringing up the points right now. Now, when you said that, it make me think about the U.S. Census,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Right.
When you're talking about people going along to get along and being labeled, right? A lot of folks don't know that even when you talk about the origins of the census, it was really as an experiment,
Mm-hmm.
and that's really to name a group of people to see if they would take on that name, right? So when you talk about Black folks in America, we had went through all the names, right? Whether it was a Negro with a little N, Negro with the capital N, Black African American. You had all these different labels that they try to kind of put on us, and we check the box, right? As
That's
if
right.
we naming ourselves or we're following suit. An experiment is to see if we give out these labels, if we give out these names to these group of people, will they identify themselves such as?
That's right.
And so for us, we have allowed them to call us Negroes.
That's
We
right.
have allowed them to call us and label colors.
Mm-hmm.
We have allowed them and even accepted the fact of being called African Americans.
Mm.
We are neither none of those,
Mm.
right?
That's right.
Well, when you're talking about that, I think that was something that struck me.
Okay.
And I think that with Black people, we want to get into the mode of when we even talking about reparations. We want to be able to identify ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Right.
Knowing that we are the original people, original man, women of this world. Um, we have to understand that everything derives from us. So we should put a label and a name on what we call ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
whether it be Moors, whether it be, um, you know, any whatever name that we want to kind of go off.
Right. Right. Right.
You can call it. But I think that's something that we should start really having a conversation and really centered around what we want to call ourselves as a group.
I think when you say that, the power to identify and name yourself or
Mhm.
name is power in that.
It is very powerful.
And I mean, it's big power in that.
Mhm.
It's big power in controlling your destiny and controlling your identity.
Mhm.
And again, we have been so brainwashed because we have taken on all these other attributes from Easter to Christmas and all these other things, the Easter bunny. So again, back to if you think about the power of the name and
Mhm.
the essence of the name, there's a scene in Roots when the brother hold the baby up
Mhm.
to God.
Mhm.
And again, most often in the African culture, the child's name is indicative to some spiritual connection.
That's
It
right.
has a meaning. It's not something that you just say a Mercedes. No. The name has
Right.
a meaning and a purpose. And getting back to that again, that's why it's so critical. That's why history is so critical, and that's why they are such in arms with the CRT.
Mhm.
You think about they holler about CRT, but they don't say anything about white supremacy in those textbooks. When you think about how they are pushing and up in arms about what material is in the school books
Mhm.
or this critical race theory concept,
Right.
and all of it is really a plot. Again, how they trick you.
Right.
You just talked about the tricks
Mhm.
that they play. And they've been using this trope, I mean, for 200 or 300 years,
Mhm.
and how it politically continues to devastate our community because, as you just said, we are group minded,
Mhm.
have no understanding about where we come from,
Right.
what we're doing here today, which is reflective in just the other day when you see the number of people that didn't vote in Flint.
Mm. You know, That's a powerful point you made. Even talking about naming, we need to get away from naming ourselves, after cars and all these different materialistic things, because you understand that the name is power. Power in the name is
Power,
power in the
man.
word. So when you say these
Power in
things, it
words.
means a lot. It means something. So you want to ensure that when you are naming your children, or when you are speaking about somebody or someone, or you speaking about an issue, ensure that you're utilizing the words that you want to make sure that that's credible, right?
Mm-hmm.
I just said, like, if I have any more children, right, I want to, which I plan to do,
Mm-hmm.
but I do want to make sure I give them, names of substance.
Right, right.
Of course, my first two, Dewana, you always want to join,
That's right. That's right.
and then,
I'm a junior.
and I was gonna be a junior, but
Mm-hmm.
I think my mom was beefing with pops at that time, so
Okay.
she wasn't having that.
Wasn't having it.
But then also, my daughter, um, we kind of agreed on it, and Delilah is the name, of course, in the biblical when we talk about Samson and things
Yeah,
like that.
right.
So we kind of knew that. But I do want to be very intentional with, naming, right?
Oh
And
man.
then even when you talk about words, I know sometimes we get out and we talk about a bunch of different things, but I want to make sure that, I use my words as weapons.
Right.
You talk about Huey P,
Man.
he was a brother that can speak and break you down without even cussing at you,
Without
right?
cursing.
Those is the things that, separate him from a lot of folks,
That's right.
getting conveying the point. So, that's something that I'm continuously learning,
Mm-hmm.
and I want
Mm-hmm.
to continue to be mindful of those things that I speak on.
Right. When just like you take the name Fatima, the power
Yeah.
in Fatima, Malik Al Hajj. I mean, when you think about Malcolm, and then when he, Malik Al Hajj, uh, Shabazz, yeah, and you think about, like mine is Naeem, when you think about the power and what it is in connecting you to the lineage too. Names, man, be honest with you, go back thousands of years because you take on part of your father's lineage for thousands of years, man, because that gives you that strength and you are connected to your ancestors. So that's the real power in the names. And again, those are some things, simple things we need to get back to.
And I think that's a powerful segue. So I know, even just in general, we was kind of having a conversation in the green room,
Right,
kind of talking about the American Rescue Act,
right.
what that looks like for different communities around the country, and
Mm-hmm.
seeing how you can utilize those dollars to better support or put your community in a better position, right?
Right.
So there's some do's and don'ts with that spending package, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we want to be able to be ensured that, even our community in Flint, is very well in the criteria of spending those dollars where the needs are,
What
right?
the needs are.
And that's we got a lot of needs, and we all know the needs, right?
Right,
But I
right.
think if we can kind of be very direct and very strategic, and we can
Mm-hmm.
identify maybe three things that we want to address, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whether it be on property, right? I think
Right.
home value is very important, so you want to be able to improve
Prove. Right.
homes, right?
Right.
And
Mm-hmm.
that'll uplift the neighborhood, right?
Mm-hmm.
That raise the property value, right?
Raise the property value. Right.
And then, I do also, I'm a big fan of entrepreneurship and business. So I think we gotta have to
That's critical.
yeah, we have to spark that small business, that minority entrepreneur. We
It's
need to go
critical.
ahead and have a base for them. And we need to put some real dollars and some accelerators around that, because you got a lot of folks. It's probably like over 300 people in this community,
Mm-hmm.
that's independent entrepreneurs, minority led businesses.
Mm-hmm.
And so, they need the support like the chamber give all those white organizations and communities, and white businesses and organizations dollars and support and resources. We want to be able to go ahead and have that for us. So I
I
really
think
want to
that's
make sure we want to advocate for that.
I think that's critical. I think we need to be bold too, because we need to step out there, like you say, black ownership in gas stations and liquor stores. And when you think about the North Side, should be considered the Black Wall Street, and it should be bold and unapologetic about it. Even you could have that whole strip up there, from skating rinks.
Hmm.
It could be skating rinks, small theaters. We could have little pubs, little clubs, jazz clubs. There's a lot of things that we can
Okay.
do in that laundromats. That whole strip, man, from Carpenter Road all the way to Pearson Road, could really be redeveloped and then intentionally targeted to make sure our community support it. Because that's the big issue about us supporting those businesses. That's critical, man. How do we really work on our people supporting the businesses?
I think that's a critical thing. How do we work on our people supporting just in general and getting out here on them? Not even have to be on the front line all the time, but just really supporting initiatives and just being a part of the process.
Part of the process, as opposed to just complaining about this is not happening.
Mhm.
We don't have this. We don't have this. We don't have this.
Right.
How do we understand legislation? And then how do we so called make these individuals that have the power to do what the community want them to do?
I think when you're talking about folks getting involved and engaging, your voice is the power to make legislation move. I think
Mm-hmm.
when if you want to have a say in this $94 million, if you're talking about $47 million that's in the quote for right now, if you want to have
Mm-hmm.
a say, I think the community should activate and really force that newly installed city council,
The new body.
the new body,
Mm-hmm.
to get to work. Right, everybody ran on the merit of doing for the people and working on
Mm-hmm.
behalf of the community. So now you got a whole new situation taking place, and we want to be able to present proposals and ideas, and we
Right.
want them to go ahead and work on behalf of making that happen. Right.
Right.
If that's what the reason why we put you in those seats, and I want to reiterate that it's not to be, oh, now that you're in the seat and is we done our job. Even us in the community as a constituent. It's
Yes.
not for us
Right.
to just to sit back and just allow them to go ahead and sit in there for 12 hours and not get nothing done. See, it's a tag team talent that we have to develop.
Mm-hmm.
We have to be out here working. We have to produce the work. We have to come in front of them, not just talking, but we have to have a plan.
A plan.
Say, hey, listen, this is a strategy we're looking to
Right.
implement. We got some
Right.
small businesses. They already signed on to this. We're looking at the north end. We would like to go
Right.
ahead and take this plot of land,
Right.
land bank. We need you to come off of that. And we're going to go ahead and redevelop. We need some dollars, Kildy. We need some dollars to be able to build up these buildings, right?
Right.
And do some facelifts over here. And that's the
Right.
type of energy that, we have to have in the community. But then the folks that's in the community, we need you to show up and be a part of that. Continue to call the city council representatives.
Right.
Tell them to approve the plan.
Right.
Right. That's how we be a force. We need 5 votes. And I think, right now, with this new body, I think that we potentially got the opportunity to make some things happen.
Mm-hmm. Now, when you mentioned that about proposals, in line with this pandemic relief and this mysterious 47 million that everybody keep talking about, have anybody said anything that really is putting together a list of like 1 through 5 that needs to be addressed like off the top? I mean, before we even get started, 1 through 5, there should be, either at the waters at the top.
Which is at the top.
I mean, forgiving all, if we want to be honest, forgiving all of the outstanding water bills.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that should be articulated and really considered to demand to make happen. Even when we think about what does that really look like? As you just said about home improvement,
it's big.
that is a big thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Because we was built for a city of 200,000.
Exactly.
We hovering about 85, 89,000 people in the city right now. I think we should be looking at how do we go ahead and address the properties that's unattended, that's maybe blighted. How do we clean those properties up, but then save the properties that we can renovate
Mm-hmm.
and actually do something with them, whether it be for a single family home
Mm-hmm.
or we activate it as a knowledge house,
Okay.
right?
Right.
Or maybe a small mini community center,
Mm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Or whatever.
Right. Okay.
But I think that we in a prime position to be able to do that.
Mm-hmm.
To say, hey, we got a lot of properties that's not being used, and we got a lot of parcel lots that's not being used. How do we make a flea market on these parcel lots? How do we go ahead and take these properties that we have, put families back into them,
Okay.
where they're managing them and not just rent it, but they're homeowners.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
How do we create those plans? Which we know how to create those plans, but how do we activate people to get in the mindset to make that happen?
Again, that is the big question as far as what we need to do to activate that kind of energy. That energy needs to be activated, and getting those stakeholders in the community and reinventing ourselves And I think that's something that should be a part of this next engagement with this new body. What are some other things that needs to be addressed? Like you say, 5 points that need to be hit hard. The trash. We need to really buy some trucks. We need to dissolve that contract and be bold.
Right.
You got the power to dissolve a contract and then buy some new equipment.
Yeah, that was that, and that's the type of entrepreneurship business that we need to be on as a city, right? When you saying reclaim our garbage trucks
Yes.
and have our own garbage industry and have our own company, our own city picking up the trash,
Yes, sir.
right? And then that's more jobs for our city residents. That's
That's
more.
right.
That's an income. That's a line item for the city of Flint.
Mm-hmm.
But those are the things I think that's one thing when you're talking about five. I identify five things.
Right.
One, you said the water,
Mm-hmm.
zero out the balance. That's
Right.
key, right? Because everybody has been hindered by that for the past 7 years.
Come on now.
Now, when you're talking about the housing crisis, right?
Mm.
I really think that we got a lot of unused properties and a lot of unused parcel lots that we can really activate as open spaces, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then two, when you talk about creating some entrepreneurship for the city, I really do feel like the city should have its own garbage, should be handling its own garbage,
Right. It
right?
really should be. It
Yeah,
really should be, man.
it don't even make sense at the city of this size.
This size.
Then also we gotta have something in place for the youth because remember the schools is down.
Got
When we
to.
talking about education, how are we thinking about if this is supposed to be a college town? How are we thinking about our young people being educated in this community,
Right.
right?
Right.
If they don't have a school to go to,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Right.
So I think we should look at what can we do about education,
Right.
that's being looking at those schools that's currently not being utilized,
Mm-hmm.
or how can we bring in some freedom schools, right, to be able to go ahead and give that life skills, that cultural awareness,
Mm-hmm.
all those different things that our students are not getting,
Mm-hmm.
not even in traditional school,
Right.
right? So the youth, you got to have a plan for the youth because
Gotta
they're
have
next,
plans. Right.
right? And so what will be, and then also our elders, right? We also
Mm.
have to take in account and have much appreciation and respect for our elders because they are the one holding up the city because they paid the taxes. They the one who had the salaries. They the one who worked at GM. They the ones who put in the work,
That's right.
and they the reason why we do have where we get a tax base.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to make sure that we protect our elders, and even when it comes down to the waters and public safety and those different things, we want to ensure that they're part of this process and engaged as well.
Mm-hmm. And how do we attract those people that have left and went to the suburbs? How do we attract them to come back, if not move back, but be a part of the redevelopment or the recreation of our city? I mean, how do we get the people that have went to the suburbs to come back and be a part of the city? I mean, that should be a relationship and a conversation we need to have where those that are living in the suburbs come back 1 or 3 days a week and be a
Oh yeah,
part of some solutions. If you're
yeah.
saying about tutoring or whatever it may be,
Mm-hmm.
they could pick a school. If we're saying we're going to re-envision a Pacific neighborhood, we can get some of those people that are retired, like you say, back to buying into our elders because you don't retire until you're dead.
Come on
And
now,
so that
right?
real commitment, man, if we can get some of that elder energy
Come on,
back with our youth,
come on, working in tandem.
man, in tandem,
That's a powerful thing because
and eliminate all of the barriers. If we could really eliminate these barriers from transportation to food, structure, that's how we can really turn the corner and re-envision this city called Flint.
You know what? I really do like the fact that when we talking about, recreating those relationships, with our
Mm,
elders and our young people, and just ensuring that our elders have all the wisdom. Right? They've
right.
been out here, they've done this work. They've been a part of many transitions, and they've seen this over and over. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then our young people have the energy to be able to continue to push the work forward. Right. Fall in line, do what's necessary, and
Mm-hmm.
carry it out.
Get it out. Right.
So we have to be able to have cultivated relationships between our elders and our young people.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, that's something that we should start really looking at. How can we do? How can we really kind of mend that relationship where the young people don't look at, I mean, the older people don't look at the young people as kind of like, I guess, lost and out here moving aimlessly. And then the young people feel like they don't have any support from the elder leadership, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
been like that. And
Hmm.
so we have to really find ways and naturally kind of, build some type of foundation where it all comes together.
Right, right, right.
So I think that's these are some rock solid ideas that I feel that we can be kind of build on, and then we can continue with the community conversation, can continue with the community plan, that eventually be our own master plan for the community.
Because if you just look at, just take this for granted, man, in the last 50 years or so, and you can see the impact of, and I'm just going to stick with the gas stations and the liquor stores, what kind of money they have generated over the last 50 years, and what those families have been able to do for their families, and have been able to concentrate their wealth, and how it's almost like an exclusive club. These individuals that own these different establishments, and it's just appalling. When I go get gas, it just turns my stomach, because I have to deal with people that does not look like me, have no ownership. And when you go to other communities, you see those people in that community and how bright the community is, how the businesses are
Yeah.
just flourishing. I was out in Grand Blanc on the west side of Grand Hill Road yesterday, and I mean all the new builds that's going up down there.
Mhm.
It's just like you look around, you say, well, where is this money coming from? But I mean, the community, Grand Blanc, is just growing, 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 and that used to be Flint.
That used to be Flint.
That used to be Flint. All them you think about Applegate, Chevrolet, and all those car, everything. Flint was the mothership. I always say that, man. Flint was the mothership, and all them other suburbs were the satellites.
Right. You know what? And Flint still is the mothership, right?
Mm.
It's a thing where I think the people of Flint has to realize that they are the mothership, and that's a thing of coming with belief. In this city, it's been ran out, and folks has been stealing from the pot for so long
For
that
so long,
they don't
man.
believe in city government. They don't believe in democracy. They don't believe in we're gonna make it right here in Flint. But you absolutely right. It's the mindset. No matter what, no matter how bad we are, no matter what deficit that we face, that we have to be willing to say, what I believe in. Coming up, I believe that we'll be a robust community again. I believe that Flint is the mothership, and so that's a mindset thing that we have to really get to, and really have to make sure that we spread right.
Mm-hmm.
And even though that it might be hard at this time, most importantly, just having the faith.
Having that
And
faith.
sometimes it's the size of a mustard seed, but even when you can't even see the light at the end of the tunnel, I think we have to continue to keep putting the work in, but continue to keep inspiring, but then also keep laying down legacies and foundations for folks to kind of build on.
Mm-hmm. Now you said earlier we was talking about this pandemic and really getting a real understanding. I think there's so many misconceptions about this money,
Hmm.
and how people, different legislators across the country, are just manipulating these funds. It's almost like it's a monopoly money, or just money that they can do whatever they want, and it's not really going for the need that it was designed to address. I mean, that is a real, real critical issue. It's almost like they can just do whatever they want with this money.
See, and that, I guess to that point right there, I know we did talk about the do's and don'ts of the federal stimulus package, and some of these things that I want to read off, right? With the
Yeah.
massive funding allocation, the way you spend your federal funds has the opportunity to impact your community for years to come. So some of the don'ts are right. This is some don'ts, and I think we all want to be very, very mindful of these things, right? So making decisions for your community without their input results in outcomes that fail to meet the residents' need. I want to say that again because all too often our legislators, our mayor, or city council, state rep, whatever, they work and they work, but they don't work on your behalf, or they don't talk and engage with the constituents, so they don't know what the constituents saying what their needs are.
Well, point of correction or point of order, like Eric Mays would say,
Hmm.
they do work for a group of people, and those are the people with power. I
Yeah.
just wanted to mention that.
Unfortunately,
Okay.
that's the truth.
Okay.
So once again, making decisions for your community without their input
Mm.
results in outcomes that fail to meet the residents' need. and that's clearly self-explanatory. You have to talk to us to be able to say like, hey, what is the problems, right? What are your needs? So if I want to help you, I have to come directly to you and say, what's the best way I can help you?
Right.
Otherwise, I may be doing some things that I might be thinking that's helping you, but
Mm-hmm.
actuality, it may be hurting.
Exactly.
Right. So for us in this city, we have to have more conversations. I know we throwing around this $47 million and keep saying it,
Right.
but
And when
where's
and you think about it, 47 million is not very much money.
it's not,
That's
but
the scary part.
it's not, but it's $47 million. It's not a lot of money, but it's $47 million that can go towards a specific need.
Yes, sir.
And so
Relieving that water crisis,
relieving the water
those
crisis,
bills.
relieving the bills. I know Rich talk about the
That's
zero in the water
critical,
all the
man.
time. That could be a weight lifted off of folks that
Yes,
not being able to
yes.
pay that bill. And I think it's ridiculous because we're paying the highest water rates
In the country,
in the country. When you before you even turn the water on,
poison water.
$57 before you even turn the water on.
Right, right.
Like it's kind of just it's ill advised, and I think that will be a good way to utilize some of those millions of
It
dollars.
really would send a statement to this community. I bet you if they did that, it'd send a statement that they are working for the people.
Come on now.
And that's what we need to get assurance from that council. They are concerned about the people, the people, the people.
And so with that, the next piece is building resources and relief programs that are not easily accessible to the
Mm,
entire community lacks inclusiveness
mm.
and limits the effectiveness of your program. So if you're creating these programs and a lot of people don't know what's going on about it, right? If you got a pot of money here, right here for folks to have access to,
Okay.
but it's not being put out through the community,
All right.
and don't nobody know nothing about it,
Mm-hmm.
but you done told a few, like a small circle of people,
Come on.
and they clean it up.
Clean up.
That is not what we're talking about with this money, right? I just want to make sure that we clear about
Clear. Yeah.
inclusiveness when we talking about this money and how we expected to spend it, right? This is a group deal, right? This is something that we all should have input on, and hopefully it impacts us in a certain type of way,
That's good. That's good.
right? The third thing is spending money on short-term solutions that fails to address the long-term issues, right, man? A lot of times folks be putting band-aids on gun wound shots, and then they wonder why they leaking 3 weeks later.
Mm, mm, mm.
That's just like with the water crisis.
I think so.
That's just like
The education system.
the education
I
system,
mean,
right?
all those things have been destroyed and gutted for a reason. When you think about our community and how it looks, those things were intentionally done when the tax base left.
Mhm.
And again, that is set. That is a policy that has been put in place intentionally. And
Yeah,
again, that's how we need to address it.
that's exactly how we need to address it. We need to stand strong on these principles. When we talking about, not having these short term solutions like that chopper, that
Come
$300,000
on now,
chopper.
and our children can't read.
That was yeah, that
Unacceptable.
was a short term solution. That wasn't even a solution.
Not even a solution.
That was a short term issue, right? Because I think it's better ways of spending $300,000
Listen,
in the community
listen.
for
You and
public
I
safety.
both know for public safety, and public safety is directly connected to job opportunities.
Hmm.
We just don't want to never get to the point where crime safety is directly connected to jobs, jobs, jobs.
Hmm.
Even those individuals that can't read.
Right.
Because at one time there were people in our community that couldn't read and they was making $50,000 and $60,000 a year. On the real tip, y'all.
Hmm.
So all I'm just saying is manufacturing, again, at one time we had all of the manufacturing in the world. Now I know we can't go back, but there are some things that we as a country and a community, this free tariff and all that mess that NAFTA that Clinton and all them laid down was a setup. You
Hmm.
cannot compete with nobody overseas 50 cents an hour. Gas is $3.50. Gas is $3.50. So how can you honestly say that you can provide for your family? That's a setup, man.
Yeah.
So that means I'm gonna go stick up.
Yeah. Nah, I mean that's exactly what you're gonna do. That's exactly what you're gonna do.
Oh, go to
Here
mistake.
go here goes some folks dropping in some numbers.
Okay.
And then too, so the dues though, you got the dues that you can spend this money on.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I know some of these things is, and we kind of run through them. Uh, Meet and increase demand for online information services and direct resident communication. Those communication is one thing we were just talking about, right? And direct services,
Right.
right? So you have to increase the demand
Mm-hmm.
for online information, services, and direct resident communication.
Mm-hmm.
That's one thing. Increase the reach of your vital communication and COVID-19 relief programs for your community, making sure that it's another accessibility piece.
Mm-hmm.
Ask your stakeholders, ask your community, ask yourself, is this the best investment I can make for the community, right? That's a question that we should ask when we're spending this type of money.
Right.
Gain buy-in from the residents and comprehensive projects to maximize or minimize pushback later on, right? Because we pushing back on you neatly for that $300,000 that you put out that you use. I don't think that you should have used that for that cause, and we could have activated the Urban Peace Corps or somebody out there, or try to put some dollars in the neighborhood where this
Yes.
activity is taking place, and really kind of create some type of cohesiveness with those folks out there, right?
All
You know
right.
what I'm saying? You got to try different tools, right?
Well,
Or different strategies.
different strategies.
Involve community in big picture projects such as transit, water, sewer, broadband, infrastructure improvements. Come on, that's big. Like, you know what I'm saying? That infrastructure bill that just passed,
Come on now.
that was big for us, right? Because the cities and roads need to be addressed. American infrastructure is so old, right? When you
Right.
talking about
Turn of
the
the century.
bridges, when you talking about the levees, when you
Come
talking
on.
about the water
Turn of the
pipes,
century old.
man, yeah, this is super old, right? So
Mm-hmm.
everything needs to be maintained.
Everything.
So, and then water is a big thing. It's a human right. Everybody should have accessibility to water. So when you talking about Flint, now you're talking about Benton Harbor. We
Mm.
want to be able to make sure folks have clean water, especially if we surrounded by the Great Lakes.
And especially when you think about the sustainability, when you're looking at the climate, what the climate is changing, and how are we looking at the 22nd century when we're going to be using um, solar energy?
Come
What
on
does
now.
that look
Yeah.
like in those batteries? What does it look like to reinvent ourselves where we are not leaving a footprint in Flint that is continually destroying the planet? See,
Mm-hmm.
back to sustainability and reinventing ourselves, we got to be looking green and clean.
Mm-hmm.
That's another emerging market. Now,
Yeah.
when you said earlier, you mentioned something about infrastructure and you think about the money they spent on that school over there on Sarvers next to the Sloan Museum, and $35 million they spent on the theater, the Capitol Theater downtown.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when we look at those kind of expenditures and those dollars, and who really have ever been able to access when we think about after school or during school activities over at that new school, or even when we think about the Capitol Theater. And it's wonderful to have those kind of dollars, but okay, Mr. Antoinette, uh, we deal with ninth graders that can't read. And again, when you think about what they got down at the county jail, they got a program at the county jail, a GED program that the inmates are going through. And many of the inmates down there can't read. If the money is spent on the front end, wouldn't be in jail today.
Mm-hmm.
Because the basic things about education, just basic education, really open up the doors and allow you to have opportunities. And so those money that he just mentioned, those kind of dollars need to really be spent towards resources for our community, and being honest that our community is behind and it is suffering, as opposed to building a 600-bed new juvenile center on Pasadena Street next to the dog pound.
Yeah, no, I think, and then too, when we do have money, we do need to have, like I was just telling Jim, I know we do have those dollars in the an account, but we do need to have visionaries that's gonna see how those dollars being used, right, and then transparency to make sure that it's used appropriately. A lot of times, Flint got a lot of money came through. Just look at the water crisis during the whole thing.
Right.
It was so much money that was coming to
Come
the
on
city.
now.
It was ridiculous.
And
But then
still
we
haven't got an account for it.
still it went everywhere else but to the real problems, right?
Come on,
That's
GISD. Look at the money the GISD got.
so it was
Man, we can't.
no, it's not about it's what we talking about. It's like the fact of the matter is we need to have folks that's gonna really carry out the plan for real.
But that's the point that we keep going back to. You steady saying we need these folks. Who are them folks? Because you can't tell. You show me one folk that's gonna change what you're saying. Because
I ain't talk, I'm talking about
again,
I'm talking about it's a plan. Like,
no, I'm
with
just
this
saying.
new body of city council that's in there right now, we
So you
need them
believe in
to
that new city council?
it's a new body. What I'm
No,
saying is
do
they
you
need
believe in it still?
it's not about if I believe in it. What I'm saying is they got a job to do. They don't get sworn in office just to be there and do the same thing with the same folks did before.
Answer
So
the
it's
question.
a
How long has the water been back?
well, I've been bad for 7 years.
Okay, hold up. Wasn't that a new city council that came in during that time?
Yes,
Okay, that's the point I'm trying to make.
yes.
Okay, that's
Let's
fine.
be on. No, let's be
So
honest.
you
Yeah,
so
it's the same thing.
so what I'm saying is though, what I'm saying. So it's city government, and then also you got the community. We just elected a new body of city council. Yeah, we elected them, and yeah, they got a job to do. Now, whether they do it or not, that's to be determined. But what I'm saying is, us as people, we got to charge them because we put them in position. We don't hold them accountable. Just like even this last city council, how many of us really held them accountable?
Nobody.
And nobody did. Nobody can say living in these wars, you held your city council person accountable.
And then when you got again, let's just be honest, guys. We had a person that came in here from Governor Snyder's office and took over the city. So the council had no power. When the emergency manager kicked the door in,
So they really, yeah,
so let's be honest.
they had power.
If you want to be honest, we got to be honest.
They didn't have power, but when they regained it, right? They
No,
got it. They got it now. They got
no, they don't
they
have.
got the power to be able to carry out just like with these millions of dollars, right? We keep throwing
Oh,
out.
okay.
They got the power to do the work now. When they was under receivership, they didn't have the power. And you do realize they was under receivership.
Right.
So they didn't necessarily have that council before didn't necessarily have even Karen even before when Karen Weaver came in. That council didn't have necessarily the power to carry it out. Not even the city of Flint did.
Hold on. That was then when they ran the emergency managers out, right?
Mm-hmm.
They got ran out, right?
Mm-hmm.
When did they get back power? What I'm saying.
They got the power back when Karen got in office. So they had the power after Karen got in office. But what I'm
Right.
saying is, the
Right.
fact of the matter is
They had the
they didn't
power.
perform.
They didn't.
So now you got a new body, and I'm trying to be optimistic. I don't know. If
Right.
you catch
Right.
this or
No.
not.
No.
I'm
You
trying
be
to
optimistic
very optimistic about
again, because you don't
what
want to
we're
throw the
doing.
baby out with the
You know what I'm
bathwater.
saying? I'm trying to give them that.
But I think what we were supposed to be engaging in is holding them accountable.
Correct.
I think that's what. Okay, Mick. Well, one thing we have to do is we know what done happened.
Right.
So we clear about that. Snyder has not been arrested. I mean, you think about the game that Snyder playing. Snyder is being paid. The state of Michigan is paying for Snyder's defense, and the state of Michigan is paying to prosecute Snyder.
Mhm.
That's only in America, man.
And
Think about that. Tax dollars are paying for defense
It's out
and
there.
offense. Now, you can't get no better than that, brother. I'm clear with your point. I'm not under no illusion.
All I'm saying, so when I'm hearing that we got the power, it's a fake illusion. That's the real illusion when you said you got the power. We said this Saturday. If anybody get in that office, meaning the mayor, city council, that's really gonna try to change stuff, they wouldn't be in that position.
And what we said is those people, so we can be on point, got to be willing to stick their necks out to get it chopped off if they're going to stand up for what's right.
and to his
That's what I'm saying. If you're going to stand on principle, then down at the council, you got to go with what, do your research, and the community saying, listen here, we want this done. This is right. That's how we stand.
and that's another thing for us. Like for us as community residents, we don't realize how much power we got.
At
We
all.
don't necessarily like when we talking about this money. We can say what we want. Like my grandfather said, man, if it ain't put down on paper, it never existed. So we don't provide a proposal or say, hey, look, this is what we want to happen in our community.
Right.
That stuff don't become valid. And you gotta know how city government work. Like we can talk all day, and that's what we've been doing. Even when we protesting and talking and just saying it, we talking. That's one thing. When you start writing letters to Antoinette, you start
Come
writing
on.
letters to kill, you
Come
start
on.
taking it down to the prosecutor. You know, you pushing restorative justice. Then they got to
Start
look at it differently.
boycotting.
They got to look at it and deal with you differently.
Boycotting.
Right. But I just feel like we have to be as a community, we have to be more mobilized. And we have to go ahead and take the lead because the power is with us.
But
not the elected officials.
I got what you're saying, but when you just said we got to write letters to these people, right? That goes back to what we had said, vote for Gretchen Whitmer, right? She gonna bring the water price. How many times have you seen it's been lied to? That's just like with the Democrats get in power. But I'm just saying, when is it gonna be enough where we're gonna quit pandering to this lying that we not being honest with each other, to be honest with you.
Right.
I'm just gonna be honest. We're not being honest. You ain't looked at why the voting in Flint was down like it is. Them people tired of you lying to them.
Right.
We keep getting a new council, same situation.
Right.
You didn't have not one council candidate that said zero to balance, but Rich. That was a write-in. He the only one spoke of it. So Rich was the only one with an idea like that. I none of them 9 could think like that.
Come on now.
I mean, but these are people that we get behind.
That's good.
None of them have no idea. That's all I'm saying.
And also, too, this is the people that we get behind. Like, why don't we produce or put forth the people that's gonna stick their neck out there and be ready to chop off?
And zero balance.
Never had it. You don't.
We have way more issues than that too, because we can't get folks to stop arguing about whether Mayor Weaver or Mayor Neely was worse. What's the point in that? If we can't even get them to stop doing that, to even get to the real issue, then what? I don't even understand it, because we can't. Nobody can stop arguing about it. Mayor Weaver was the worst. Mayor Neely is the worst. Like, that's just, they's gonna spend hours and hours and hours doing that. Then we can't get past if Eric Mays did this and when he did that, and back in 82 he did this, and 73 he did that. Why do we care? Why do we even care if he was drunk going the wrong way on the council? What does that have to do with anything? Why do we still have to argue about that? Why do we still have to continue to hear about that right now today? I don't care about any of that. What I care about is that my aunt that still lives in the city can't use her water.
Right.
So that's what I care about. I care about these kids that can't use it.
Right.
Damaged from it.
And I think
let me just say this. Our thing is producing solutions. We know that folks is gonna talk about Eric. We know that people talking about Neely. Folks is still trying to push for Karen. We know that. We have to go ahead as a community. Folks have to stop talking and all that chatter, because that doesn't produce a solution. Talking about neither one of that stuff. We have, as a community, have to produce solutions. We can't depend on these elected leaders. And I think that's what y'all saying.
That's what I'm saying. Definitely. I'm definitely saying
we gotta do so we either do the work or we accept what we get.
No, that's all we can do. But that's the only thing what I'm saying about the voting, because we tell our people every year, every 4 years, we coming up with a new vote. What have the governor Gretchen Whitmer got us? She's putting in. What has Neely got us? I mean, we're gonna end up talking about him because he is the mayor. Mm-hmm. But if you putting back in the same people that caused it, look how they finna do Benton Harbor. The same players that were playing.
Come on, man.
On their way down to Benton Harbor. Yeah. And
that's as unacceptable.
So how is Gretchen Whitmer gonna be any better than Snyder?
That's critical.
That's under her watch.
That's critical.
Biden gonna come and take a sip of their water too?
Yeah, see what I'm saying? Yeah.
Biden gonna come and take a sip of their water once they claim to have it done, Brother Roberts.
Yeah.
We're gonna do this all over again.
All over again. And see, like in the real issue, guys, and I know y'all don't like me to say this, man, but I'm telling you guys, Huey Newton them was right, man. Boycotting, unless we gonna get our people to stop, we just keep taking the pill.
Yeah.
We just keep taking the pill.
Yeah.
And like you say, when you say Queen, it's set up for us to bicker over crumbs.
Yeah.
That's our mentality. We are so screwed up mentally and educationally, because that's all we emotional. We just emotional, y'all. We don't
And
strategize.
can you speak on the Democratic plantation?
Lord have mercy. Lord have, don't get me started.
Brother Roberts, but listen, but just that, but that's the thing, right? We are complaining about us. You and I have talked about this a bunch of times about arguing over crumbs, right? However, where are the people that's gonna stand up and say, and as you say, be bold and say, shut up? Because at the end of the day, that's what we need to say. Shut up. So what?
So
Right?
what? Yes,
So
ma'am.
what?
Yes, ma'am.
Because that's how I feel about it. Like, shut up. So
Shut
what?
up. So what?
And that's what we need to be saying. And that's what we need to be. So holding people accountable or whatever, we can do that. But at the end of the day, somebody needs to say, shut up. For real, shut up.
But
I'm
then
telling you,
you
man.
also have to. So you also have to mobilize on the ground level, right? And I say this because it is some groups of people, folks out here working, right? They're just not being supported because they may be really doing the work, right? And we have these conversations and we talk about this, and it's more than just kind of just saying, but rolling up your skis and getting to it. We don't necessarily have to bicker and argue about anything. We don't have to argue about administrations. And I said this, plenty of times. What we have to do is have a strategic plan of action because we are empowered. We don't have when Gretchen is not doing what we expect that she's doing, and she's not. Let's be clear.
She's not.
We have to go ahead and call her out, but I don't see nobody. I just don't see a concentrated effort of that's doing that. Even with our good folks in Benton Harbor, we shouldn't allow Neely to be on the front line to talk to Muhammad when he was the one who
Right.
carried the boat.
Right.
But
Right.
nobody's saying these things, but a few people know.
No, but but that's what I'm saying. Our elected officials 1 through 9 supposed to be able to say something about that. They firsthand experienced the water crisis here, but why they ain't come to the activists? Ben Harbor can look at that. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Then why we ain't talking to the people,
Right.
people, not to the council people. Let's hear from the people of the city.
Yes, sir.
And see how what they say.
Right.
That's the problem. We talking to council people. We talking to the mayor. You ain't talking to the people on the ground. That's what
Now,
I'm
one
saying.
thing you critical you just said about the mobilization.
Right.
Now, back in 1946, down there in Birmingham, Alabama, those sisters, before King got involved, they stopped riding the bus, y'all.
Yeah.
This real talk, man.
They took the initiative.
They took the initiative.
Right.
This is something that, like you say, we got the blueprint.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All this, we got the wheel. Where is the wheel? Because we are concentrated on, as the Queen said, this fake illusion that all this bantering is going to get anything done.
Brother Roberts, when are these people? Because I agree that there are people out doing the groundwork, right?
Yes, ma'am.
There are little groups here and there.
Yeah, right.
But when are they going to be bold?
That's it.
That's the key right
That's
there.
the key.
When are they going to be bold?
Bold.
Because how many people are standing out in Grand Blanc just like you saying white people are terrorists? Huh?
Not just me.
My point. but my point
just
is
me.
But
black people stopping me and asking me, am I crazy?
But the point of it is that you're being bold, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Listen, so at work, there's this thing that they're going through, and you have to be bold, be inclusive, be transparent, and be all these things. All right, we learn this in leadership training all the time, right? About being bold. But what's the point in doing this little work when you're gonna be behind the door, or you're gonna be a coward and not come out and speak against it, right? When it really counts.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing.
That's the
thing. Those
thing.
ladies were bold.
Bold.
Things, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So I'm bold in a lot of things I do. I'm bold when I speak and I say, I don't go to the hair stores or any of that to buy hair products or do anything like that. I get on these black ladies' websites and I'll order everything that I need if they're not close to me. I don't get my nails done at the mall with these people. I let a black lady that does my nails, and she does it from home after the pandemic because she has children. She couldn't afford to not do it, but they shut them down. right?
Mm-hmm.
And I go to her. Like, I'm bold in the things that I do like that. And I support. Even if I don't like it, I still support it. Do you know how many t-shirts? Everybody knows I love graphic t-shirts. I got a million of them.
Mm-hmm.
You know how many I got sitting in my house that I'm never gonna wear because I think they trash. However, I support you because you trying.
Yeah, yeah. See, that's it.
That's being bold.
That's it.
And so when we gonna be bold enough to say, I'm not taking this crap from city council. I'm not taking this crap
That's
from
it,
Governor
sister.
Whitness.
I'm not taking
I'm
it.
not taking this. And we just gonna keep
That's
talking
it.
about it and going round and round about
Yeah.
it. No, we're not.
That's
I told
it.
my girl, you know what? I took my auntie's water bill and I threw it in the trash. I took it. Why you paying it?
Zero
Thank you.
balance the water.
Put your money in escrow. I took her
Thank
to
you.
help her set up an escrow account. I said, let them take it. I said, why do you care if they turn it off, Auntie?
Come on.
Why do
Zero
you care?
balance the water.
Zero balance.
Zero balance, yes.
Shout out to Rich Jones.
Yes.
But why do you care if they shut it off? You can't use it.
Right.
You're not doing nothing with it. Why
Nothing.
do you care?
Why you care?
Why do you care?
Boldness.
And when I said that to her, she did say, well, nobody ever said that to me. Why in the hell not?
In addition,
That's good. Boldness. That's
in
the
addition
man.
to
That's
that,
what we
though,
got to work on.
just
Boldness.
Just like how we
got to get groups.
but we do need numbers.
We need numbers,
Right?
man. We gotta.
It discouraged me though, right? I got to be honest.
Tell the
You
truth.
can be bold all day long. We be seeing this stuff. You can be on the front line, but when it's only twos and fews out there, and you
Right.
see
Seven of
people
y'all
fighting
total.
against you, it look real ridiculous. And then for those folks who are bold, who out there on the front line, who been out there, they look at this as a comedy show.
Yes.
I be looking at some of my own people because we should all be on the same side. But in all actuality,
Let me say this.
in all actuality, not all of us believe in this mission the way that everybody else believes. And it's unfortunate because Brother Roberts will be out there Grand Blank by himself.
Right.
And I see him.
Damn right he will.
He'll be out there and I see him. I'll be
Yes.
out there on the front line with 1,000 white people behind.
Yes, with that
And I
shirt
will be
on.
looking crazy because I'll be thinking like, why the hell do we know the problems, but we don't stand up and be strong enough. And then it's consistency. People show up for a time being because it's hot. People show up because it's affecting them at the time.
Right.
But
Some of the
you ain't-
organizations
you ain't-
do that
You
too.
ain't consistent with your flow. You ain't out there on every fight.
I mean, they'll show up at Rubes
Yeah.
and they'll show up at Prime,
Yeah.
but won't show up
In numbers, though.
in numbers to get something done that is going to benefit our community when we think about businesses in our community.
But 9 of them can get together to vote for a 50-year tax break.
Isn't that insane? Now that right there is insane.
We gotta be honest with it.
You talking about this council?
The
that was
last
retired-
one,
that
just
was a
the
retired
last one.
council.
That was
I'm
unacceptable.
waiting on the new one to come.
And they need to eliminate that. Back to what you said about, and look, you say the first 30 days, the first 30 days.
Push back on that debate.
Did you hear me tell you all 9 of them voted for it?
I said, but in the community.
Who pushed back?
Who pushed back on community first? I know that's a black face in the organization. And
Face.
people buy that because it's a black face. But he's really working on behalf of other people.
Because we got our own saying that's a black business.
What I was saying is like,
No,
what
but
was our pushback because the city council members voted for that?
No, but a lot of people didn't. But that's what I'm saying. A lot of our council people, but the citizens didn't want to go for that. You had a handful that went for that and that garbage contract. A lot of them council don't go with what they constituents said.
Because
Davis constituents calling in the second ward. I know when I was watching it when he was the deciding vote on one, they told him not to do it.
yeah.
You know what he did? He did it anyway. Herb Winfrey constituents
Yeah.
did the same thing. Called in when them people be calling in the city council. A lot of them wouldn't call it in for that, but when you put these people in place and you hoping, just like what we doing now, my bad, we hoping that they get in there and do right. Look how we've been saying. We got to look at what it, like you had said. I remember I said it's 5-4. It's 5 blacks against 4 whites. That's silly that we sitting up here got to find 5 votes or 6
Right.
votes
Right.
to make but I'm saying to make a city run right.
Right.
When you get, I'm just saying,
Everybody should be voting on what's
what's
rolling
going with
right.
the city. Now that's why I'm saying I'm not optimistic. Even though when I heard a lot of them council people did their little speech the other day, what was it, Monday, they swearing in, I was just listening to it. Look
Of
at the
course.
good lies that's being said.
Of course, I feel the same way. But I'm just hoping, because being honest, right? We depend on them to do a job. I'm hoping right?
Brother, you better than me because I
I'm
done gave
hoping,
up.
I'm hoping though that you know what I'm saying. And I know that I'm being optimistic. But I'm saying I'm hoping that they find it in themselves, right, to dig deep, and then I'm hoping that us as a community make a concentrated effort, hold them accountable.
But have you seen the support that the people that don't know shit what they talking about get? When you hear people, I'm just saying, being honest, that garbage contract. People like, oh, well, we know what it is. Ain't no, oh, well, if the city is in trouble, even when Rich said, if you had 24 million surplus, fund, whatever, you 17 million, that's 41 million in the hole now.
Well,
who voted for that? Even with that helicopter, who
nobody
voted
but that's all Neely doing.
But I'm saying, but couldn't no 6 votes? Because you know you can stop what he's doing with the votes. That's what I'm saying. Who on that council gonna be? What 6 gonna be willing enough to go sit there and will him in? Because you really can will him in.
That's the thing. And then it's co-equal branches of government.
Right.
They do have to hold him accountable. And they
what
do.
6 you see?
It's back to being bold, though, right?
Right.
So whatever the case,
that's all I'm saying.
You need 5, really.
No, but you need 6 to change because he can veto it. We done seen that he can veto it, but you need that 6 to make it solid.
To make it solid, okay. Yeah, we do need 5 to 6. Yeah. But what I'm saying is they do have to work as co-equal branches of government. Neely can't feel like, and I'm just saying in general.
You know, I'm with you.
Neely should never feel like he has to make the decisions by himself. And he should feel like that council board should be able to hold him accountable, but really be another pair of eyes and everybody making sure that they see the value in this for the constituents. So that's how we would like government to work, but we're not getting that. And we're trying to replace the people. We got a new body of city council. And, you know, next year is the mayor race and those things in the state rep because we don't have no representation at the state.
That's the point.
We in a lose-lose situation, but we have to. I'm just hoping, and I mean saying hoping.
Right.
We have to go ahead and do the work as the constituents because we hold the power.
Right.
To make sure we got the right leadership in place. And then if they're not doing the work, then we have to go ahead and hold them accountable. And if that means removing them from the seat, then we have the power to do that. Right?
No, that's kind of rough. I can't really see that because look how the county was stopping all them recalls they was trying to put in.
It's the language. But if you got the right language,
but that's what I'm saying. How many times
we got the right language based on why we saying that we need to remove this person. Then we need to make sure we push it. Then that's a push on the county too. It's ways that we got to go about it. What I'm saying in democracy.
Well, being that we have these things coming up next year, why isn't that the talk of who we need to be putting in place or the preparation of these things or the language that we need these people to be looking at or the things that we need people to be looking at when they're getting ready to vote? Those are things we need to be getting in place right now because we can't wait till it's election time next year.
That's right. That's right.
So folks who are looking to run next year, they got to announce that in January.
No, I'm not even necessarily saying just the people, but just what we need to be looking for,
right.
the language we need to be listening for and looking
format.
For. All of those
what
things.
Type of leadership people or personnel that we would like.
But I'll give you better what Becky Brown just said. She said, I believe the 7th Ward person is going to continue to focus a lot on the culture center.
The what?
The culture center.
Ward. Who's in 7th Ward?
Alley. That's not that's not focusing on the valley, the states.
I didn't even give.
If she just focus on the culture center, that's over there by Mott, the 7th Ward. Talking about Alley.
Right. That's where I live.
Right. But I'm saying, the 7th Ward is way more than just the culture center. Is what I'm saying. That's the point that I'm trying to make. We getting people in that's not focusing on the whole ward, just focusing on their part.
But that's how some of the people feel about the 5th Ward too.
I think what and we missing the biggest point is they take advantage of our ignorance and unwillingness to be bold because they feel that they are insulated because of the low number of people that vote. So they can do whatever they want. In other communities or municipalities, it be standing room only.
I feel like they're counting on it.
They are.
They're counting on it, Brother Roberts.
They are, sister.
Yeah, they counting
because
on it.
In other municipalities, man, it's like jam-packed and they not leaving until this ordinance or what we have set up is going to be implemented.
Brother Roberts, for instance, You know how they came out in droves from all over the place to go down there saying unmask our children.
Come on now. That's my point.
Shit.
That's
it
my
was so
point.
packed, I couldn't even get down some of the streets. Mickey couldn't even get to me coming. Him and Nicole. And
That's
coming.
my
We
point.
couldn't even get to each other because it was so packed. And they were coming from everywhere, all walks of life, all kinds of everything. They came with their Trump flags and their Confederate flags. They coming straight through the north side. Like, what up?
They leave you hanging out there.
Unmask our children. Unmask our children. Those people come out bold about those things. They came out bold about Trump. They come out bold about all of those things. And we sit and we just look. Then we'll call our neighbor and say, did you see that? You see that? But we not being bold in the things
at all.
Doing.
Come on.
That's what we need to do. Why aren't we being bold? Why weren't we being bold when Rich Jones was down there sitting in on the lawn with all those tents saying zero balance our water?
Come on. Because we
89,000 people should have been down there.
Yes.
How many people in Flint?
Supposed to be.
That's all I'm saying.
We tired. We ready to go to Rube next week.
Right.
Yep. Cowards. Just cowards, Queen. I think like you said,
Oh, wait a minute. Y'all forgetting the favorite one. Crab boil. You throw one of them, you get the whole city out.
You know, Queen and my king, you know, Mick has said it earlier about, you know, throughout the years have been lied so much. The apathy is just off the chain because they feel that they have put all their eggs in one basket, no results.
And one bastard too.
Yeah. All right, Queen.
Hey, you forgetting that? How about that? Like you talked about the detention center. Who are the detention centers for?
Our sisters and brothers.
No, that's the sad part.
That's the sad part.
They finna build this, and knowing that's our ass.
Nobody pushed back on that.
Nobody pushed back on that.
30 million from the juvenile center. Let's go ahead and put it into the schools where we can educate.
Come on now.
Get to this point. It's just like we got to be more of a concentrated effort. I always say this, like we so fragmented and we don't be moving as a unit. So while I might be talking about this on this end, bro might be talking about that on his end.
Right.
It's just not a lot of us out here. It's unfortunate. People just distracted. People working. People out here being, you know, in the streets, right? They distracted.
You're still getting poisoned though.
They still getting
the water
poisoned.
still. But I'm just saying. A mask is better. I'm looking at how the white people they come for. Don't wear the mask. But
come on, man.
Show up that we getting rashes on.
Come on, man.
And how did you feel about the judge just push that money through like that?
They don't for the settlement.
Yeah.
Let's move to the history impact, man, because you know what I'm saying this is gonna be a long discussion. So at this time, man, let's turn it over to Brother Roberts for the history impact.
Oh, hello, hey, my community again. This is another installment of, you know, as always, this is Black Lives Matter Flint History Impact. And we always want to come to our community with something really fresh and important. As your host, I'm Hubert Naeem Roberts, and I want to say good evening to our community. Today, we are going to talk about healing. One thing I want to mention to you guys, I know some of you guys are familiar with your white Jesus or that concept in the Bible, and no harm to anybody, but I know you guys have is seared in your mind the three wise men and what they were carrying, and some of you guys got it right on your tongue: frankincense and myrrh. Now, what is that? Now, I'm going to tell you guys, these oils have been around for thousands and thousands of years. And before we had the pharmaceuticals that all of us have been polluted and poisoned by, frankincense and myrrh are some natural healing oil that we really need to take advantage of today. I am challenging our community and all of those that are listening to my voice. The early Kemetic people were using these oils for everything that you can imagine. And they would ingest it. They would put it on their bodies. They would even inhale it through a smoke form. And what they found in the parts of these different oils, what make up these oils are all basic elements that come from the earth, and they have healing properties in them. Scientists have been trying to break these down for years, and it's just been amazing how these oils have been used throughout mankind, throughout the history of mankind. So, frankincense and myrrh. I want you guys to really, there's a difference between the cosmetic frankincense and myrrh as opposed to the pure. And again, I want you guys and challenge you guys to look this up and really dig deep, because if you would allow this to be part of your everyday regimen. See, before we came to this continent, Black people didn't ingest meat. We did not ingest meat. When we were over in our own country or continent, we did not ingest meat. Although meat was running all around, we were basically vegetarians. And so, what has happened for the last 600 years, uh, we have turned into another type of human being because we have ingested someone else's garbage. And that garbage is what's destroying us. We're not supposed to be dying at 80 years old and 90 years old. That's not what we did. We rocked to 140, 150. Holla and roller skating. You know what I mean? At 50, 150 years old, we still roller skating. So my point I'm making is it's so important that we get back, and I'm challenging you guys to do some research. I'm not just throwing this out there for nothing. I'm using it myself. I've been dealing with a brain tumor for about 19 years now. They gave me 3 years to live. I'm going on 19 years, and I've been using it. That's why I know that it's been beneficial for me and some of my family members. Again, I know it's hard. We are hard headed, and I've used myself as a guinea pig, if that's the kind of thing you want to think about. But I've used myself to really try to get away from a lot of the synthetic medicine that I was on to save my life. My doctors and them were very perturbed with me because they was like demanding me to ingest this poison. And I wasn't going to allow my kidney to be destroyed. You know, I wasn't going to allow my liver to be destroyed. I just wasn't going to do it, man. You know, and so with some research and some help by some Muslims, you know, we was able to come up with a cocktail that I've been using for the last 12 years, to be honest. I eliminated pork 30 years ago, so that hasn't been no issue. And really, red meat really don't engage in that at all. And so when you change your diet, it's not just putting the oil on, ingesting the oil, and then, like you say, having it burning in your home, because I do that too, and meditation. But it is a process of your diet. When we was in our mother country, we walked everywhere. We swam. We ate a lot of fish. And again, we ate so much vegetables. And so those are things that I'm going to encourage our community to get back to. And again, I just in closing, a lot of times it's easy to just complain. And I know sometimes you guys feel that there's no hope. We can choose to live. There is a possibility that things can change if we are committed. And so that's one thing that I want to leave you guys with. I want you guys to really be committed. I want our community to start thinking differently and acting differently. And again, man, when you guys think and act differently, the impossible can happen. You know, I love you. I love our community, and I want all of us to have the benefit of good health. And again, it is a lot of times it's easy to go to the fast food restaurant or to do a lot of number of things that we've been culturally conditioned and tricked into doing. Fast food, and we've been tricked into not preparing our food. Some of us, I'm 65, and I remember my mom cooking, you know, for the whole week, man. And then we eat leftovers, and the leftovers taste better than the new meal. Think about that, guys. How when the leftover marinate, and sit for a while and get them juices get the wangling and tangling. Oh man, holla holla, man! You talking about black eyed peas? Ooh, sugar sugar bang bang. So again, these are some things that we got to really get back to. Again, always we want to thank our community. We are here to lift our community up and to bring you fresh information that's going to challenge you. And we want to spark your mind. Again, I'm Hubert Naeem Roberts. I am your host for History Impact, Black Lives Matter Flint. Again, hit me up 810-394-4105. My email is mentorroberts@gmail.com. Wakanda out.
I love that.
Thank you.
Always the knowledge and the information that's shared. The brother do be making sense, man. Just challenging us to be committed. I know we get tired. I know it's a long haul. When you look at folks, and you be talking about you got the brand to me, you've been rocking for 19 years.
Yeah.
And I shoot, we've been out here on the front line for a long time, so I can only commend you.
Well, thank you, man.
Having 3 years, not even listen to that stuff.
Right, right.
You know what I'm saying? Living by your own means, man. And, you know what I'm saying? That's what I'm about. And I relish that. So, man, I continue to keep lifting you up.
Well, thank you, my brother.
Consistent. We had like 100 of you.
That's right. Well, we gonna create them. Shoot. Right. That's what we
Brother
do.
Roberts, I took that journey like 3 years ago, right? Because I was having, I was had problems with my asthma or whatever. But then I just was, just being unhealthy and just being, and 3 years ago I decided to take a change. And I don't know if any of you follow me on Facebook, like you can see the pictures, but even people will tell you like your diet and your health all starts in the kitchen.
Yes,
right?
ma'am. Mm-hmm.
And I stopped eating red meat, and I stopped eating. So I've been not eating red meat in a long time, and pork and those things. So those things do start in the kitchen, and so it was so funny that you were talking about frankincense and myrrh because I do burn those. I use those, right?
Yeah.
And so frankincense, right? You can use that oil for fungus.
Yes,
right?
ma'am. Yeah.
And then the myrrh, you burn that to get contagious diseases
Come on now.
away.
Come on.
And those are the things that you burn. Like you guys got to do your research. I'm telling you, those things work. And
They work.
And like I always talk about meditation and taking
Yeah.
that into it. I'm telling you,
Yeah.
just gotta
Self-care.
look at it.
Yeah.
Self-love is
Self-care.
the best love,
It's
right?
the best love.
I
And when you
love it.
mention that, again, so often, they have been basic in our roots. And because we have been culturally conditioned not to search our roots and really ashamed of our roots,
Mhm.
it is one of the most simplest form of information that is there. It's out there.
Yeah.
But we have been bought into this fast food or something instant, And again, we just have to keep encouraging one another and be that light.
Or even using lavender to go to as a form to go to sleep as opposed
Yes,
to
ma'am.
meal.
Yes,
Just
ma'am.
saying.
Holla.
Everybody's on that microwave. They want that microwave flow.
Right, right.
And that's not what we are, right? You know what I'm saying? So you definitely want to treat your body temple, do it right, get
Right.
eat right, etc. We want to move into our last segment of the day, which is, of course, one of our new segments. We want to talk about crash dummies of the day.
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
We have a lot of those going on all around. So, but we want to identify one for the one right now. Right? You
Man.
know what I'm saying? Man, I've been watching this Kyle Rittenhouse trial.
Oh, goodness gracious.
And I'm just kind of baffled, to be honest with you. I don't know if I never had trust in the American justice system because of going through the justice system and fighting trumped up charges and trying to be sent away for 15 years. I just really never believed in it anyway, right? Just watching this stuff play out in the news, it just looks so ridiculous how that Judge Bruce Schroeder.
You mean the lawyer?
No, the judge.
The judge is the lawyer.
I'm talking about the judge.
No, he's that man lawyer.
Oh.
I thought he was there.
Like when you brought the defense team, I'm like, man, I really just didn't understand, strategy. Just be clear, man. He's already set the tone for this trial.
Yes.
And that's the type of flow that we seen time after time.
Time after time. Killer Mockingbird.
And this is what we talk about having accountability and continue to be forceful and continue to be bold and talk about
Right.
that take place and why we have to watch this stuff and knowing this boy is wrong.
Wrong.
These people
dropped him off
Man.
in another
In
state
another state.
with accessory.
Man. Oh my goodness.
Accessory with a minor with an AK-47.
You going to prison?
You go under the prison along with mama too. Man.
American system and this whole justice, this side of justice, it just makes me laugh. So that's why, I always have to have some comical air in this, right? And I be laughing sometimes because my grandfather said sometimes you have to laugh.
Crying, really.
And I was just looking like, man, I really want to just I guess, do some stuff, but to calm my nerves, to stay here and be out of prison, and be strong and be in this position because folks count on me. I have to go ahead and laugh this stuff off. So in that vein, we just gonna give Kyle Rittenhouse, the judge, attorney, judge, we're gonna give them all
the hats he wears.
Some of these things that's going on.
Yeah.
Trial, right? So you got this 18-year-old child, right, or 18-year-old young man. Right?
No man.
But did you see how they try to revert to him as a boy?
Boy.
Yeah.
This boy that went in there and killed 2 people, you did some real man stuff. So now you should be held accountable as a man.
Absolutely.
Come on now.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. How they do us?
They sure do.
14.
Yep. And you could be tried as an adult.
Come on.
Life.
Absolutely.
So just look at that, man. This boy is 8. He's an 18-year-old young man.
He's a grown man.
He's a grown man. He shot 3 people.
3 people.
Died, and one is still alive.
Mm-hmm.
But he lost his arm in that process.
He did say he lost like 80%, some stuff.
This was gone.
Yeah. So,
from the elbow down.
The thing is this, though. This is what I want to laugh at. Not even saying this is what the thing is, though, man. When white men get in trouble, right? The main thing is to do beating on their wife, or they commit a crime of perjury, or they embezzle some money from a foundational organization. They resort to crying on the stand.
Yes.
And what did we see? I called this out, but before I said it was a play, but it was hard for him to get done. It was just fake tears, though. He was doing all television. It was like, come on, man. Like, we know this look like what Booba do when I know it's some fake stuff. Like, I can tell you doing it.
Right. I'm still gonna get you.
The thing is this, though, for us to see that type of behavior, the same tactic, the same play, being used over
Same tactic.
I just want to see, and I'm hoping that they get fried, but I'm just hoping to see exactly what we gonna do in response.
Yes.
That'd be my thing.
But have you looked at the outside part of it?
Huh?
Have you looked at the other part to it, the outside part?
What?
This is really white folks' business.
Yeah.
This ain't a black that got killed. Now I want to see how they gonna respond. Like how our parents would be at what we'll see our people out there crying to lose a kid.
Yeah.
I want to see what's gonna be their response. Is they gonna be marching? Is they gonna be going down if he get off?
If they gonna be burning stuff up, if they gonna flip police cars over.
I wonder if they gonna have a different look at the police, at the judicial system now that one of their own get killed. And now that the killer gonna be able to walk away because that's what he is a killer.
But the one, if they do start flipping stuff over and burning it, it's gonna be they're hurt. They're feeling hurt. It's gonna be some type of sympathetic something towards it, right?
I'm with it, right? You know what I'm saying?
But I say, hey, flip it all over.
Burn the courthouse with the judge sitting.
Yes.
Flip it all over.
Allegedly.
Bulldoze it.
Yeah, I'm hurt. Yeah, I'm hurt about hypocrisy.
The hypocrisy. I'm telling y'all,
We're gonna
man.
spell it for him. He can't say it right
The
now.
judge,
Put it in the comments.
the judge was like, I need to take a break.
Did he give him a break?
Yeah.
You know how many brothers I done seen crying?
Come on, man.
The judge said, I'm gonna teach you a
lesson.
60.
Off the top.
Those tears don't mean anything to me. You committed a crime.
Crime. You are a menace to society.
Know what they say.
Did you see how he was talking to the prosecution?
Yes.
He was just kind of reciting all these different laws, 40 or 440.
Come on, man.
And saying you out of line.
Yeah.
I
never seen nothing from a judge.
To a prosecutor.
Never.
Mickey said he was the lawyer.
So what's the point of the matter is, it's like
He went back to law school.
He did.
Showcasing America.
It is, man.
So that's what I do want to see. This is white on white.
America KKK.
How the whole outcome go play out and what they gonna do. And then I want our responsibility too. So that's one thing.
Right.
So Kyle displayed in Wisconsin courtroom as he testified in his homicide trial was the folks like to call an ugly crime, right?
Yeah.
He wasn't weeping with regret. He was claiming self-defense.
Self-defense. He
Count
left
that
another
language.
state.
Man,
He
I got
left
my- I
another.
got my-
Oh, okay.
I got my wife. No, he left the state.
Left a state
Mhm.
to go to another state.
Was the gun illegal?
No, the gun wasn't legal.
Ain't
So-
that extra?
Let
Yes.
me say this. Now, getting back to the judge, the trial and pre-trial proceedings was already sparked a national outcry because Judge Bruce Schroeder decided last month that prosecutors may not refer to Rosenbaum, Huber, or Groskowitz as victims.
Mhm.
That defense attorney could call them looters or arsonists, though.
Ain't that crazy? That's prejudice. Now that's prejudice.
But you set the tone, right?
Right.
You gotta set the tone.
Okay.
If he's looking at it from a white supremacist standpoint,
Yeah. Right.
I have
Okay.
to set the tone, right?
Yep.
You can't call these folks who died, and there's one person who's still alive but lost 80% of his arm. or
Come
whatever.
on.
You can't call them victims.
Right. Human beings. Right.
You're already setting the tone for the jury,
That's right.
right? These are the things that we see. But you can call them looters, arsonists, right?
Them basically criminals, so that should be
Basically
Yeah. Criminals.
Okay, we
Yeah.
online.
You online?
Now with his tears, Rittenhouse has cast himself as the lone victim in his own homicide trial. The boy that casted himself as a victim in his homicide trial of killing two.
Ain't that good?
That's gangster.
That's gangster. That's gangster.
I would be love to be in that position.
I love to be.
Don't
In
y'all try it.
I'm not gonna try.
Please don't try this at home.
Too old.
When he wasn't crying, Rittenhouse explained why he traveled roughly 20 miles from Illinois. Earlier that day, he alleged he offered condolences to a business owner for the cars that were set on fire the previous night.
Come on.
So he's offering his condolences. This is the reason why he's saying that he came. This is the basis why he came.
To protect property.
Who do he got a white Johnny Cochran or something as his lawyer? Because I want them.
I know you do.
Because whoever was putting this defense together, he got her.
He looked like he got
Hey.
a blue live matter boy.
Oh yeah, almost definitely. You know, he had $2 million bond. They paid it. Y'all know that?
So he got top of the top lawyer there.
So in this too, the evidence showed that Rittenhouse has aligned himself with the Blue Lives Matter crowd. So it is worth considering his sobbing within the context of the toxic and limited view of manhood that remains so popular in America, particularly among modern political rights. Right? That's what they do.
That's what they do. Yeah.
Right?
Blue
That's
line.
January 6th.
That's Jam. That's all that. Yeah.
Same people, right?
Same people.
Some compare Rittenhouse to Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh's reaction when questioned during his confirmation hearing about Christine Blasey Ford credibility allegations of sexual assault. You seen how Brett got it.
Oh man,
You
yeah.
know he was touching that girl.
Yeah, he a freak. You know he a freak. Don't y'all just call it what it is.
But this is the thing. But do you see how they look out for their own?
Oh, no doubt.
Because
Yeah. They always
They
have.
made the lady out a liar in the Brett Kavanaugh.
Come on now.
Now they made her a liar.
But
Yes.
just think about
Yes.
just think about all the other brothers that fell victim to look at Tupac.
Come on now.
Situation with Tupac.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You see how it played out, and they were trying to play him for sexual assault.
Right.
And it was nothing nowhere.
Nothing nowhere near.
Black, but that's the thing when you black. What we was talking about earlier, when you dealing with that cousin, listen, when the judge and the prosecuting can be cousins, I'm not saying they cousins,
Blood.
but same skin.
White
color.
supremacists.
I just wish that we had that camaraderie though. When we talking about how we support each other, how they know that he didn't kill them two folks.
Mm-hmm.
Like plain as day. He came there for no reason.
Come on.
And they still protecting him from the judge on down. They never mentioned anything about his mother. Like you said, she should be charged with accessory for dropping him off.
Yes.
With them guns in the car.
That's-
Yes.
Another state.
Who bought the gun?
Come on, man.
I'm just saying though, the mom did that.
No, that's what I'm
You never
saying.
hear anything about the mom, right? And then too, when you're talking about setting the tone for this trial, you already made this a situation where you can't call people certain names, right? Right? That's gonna benefit the defense. This is where we talk about the legal system is so awkward. I just want to see like what's our outcry. I know we've been talking about outcry, but what's our strategy, even though it's white on white crime? What are we going to do? What are we going to say in response to this whole trial?
I know that's right. Yeah.
That's all I was going to
Well,
say.
No, yeah.
They probably gonna give y'all a trade off, meaning they gonna probably lock the older guys up to kill
Aubrey.
Yeah, Aubrey, and they gonna let the young guy off. Remember, they looking, he still have a future. You think they want to lock up they 17, 18-year-old like that, lock ours?
Lock up.
I think in the Aubrey case, they trying to fumble that up too.
No, they ain't gonna get out of that one.
One of the two up. Now they can't let both of them off because they'd have a riot in the United States. They're gonna trade one off. What I'm looking at,
all three of them in the Aubrey case gonna get locked up, man. They gonna get locked up.
They on their way.
They hit.
They on their way off the battlefield.
They hit.
But that 18-year-old, he got way more time ahead of him than he got behind him.
I'm hoping he hit because again, the prosecutor. One thing that the prosecutor, and you can't get around this, traveled across state lines. A minor with a weapon, past curfew, because they had a curfew out that night also.
Yes,
it was a curfew. So he was all the way in violation, guys.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because even if they try to mistrial or try to go that way, the federal government gonna have to pick that up.
But how can you pick it up because it's white on white? You can't go with a hate crime.
It's not a part of the hate crime. It's part of malfeasance and the crime or the justice. If you go for a mistrial, so I can be clear that this was not handled responsibly or legally because even the judge contaminated the case.
Right.
So that's what they're going to have to go on. The judge was prejudiced. All that was foul. Everything was foul.
Do you think they'd be bold enough to blow up the Wisconsin judicial system? Because this is where you can blow some stuff up if the government come in, because now you can start finding where the judge was prejudiced.
I think this is a highly, highly volatile case that they're gonna have to. Garland gonna have to look at this. The attorney general they're gonna have to do something about this. If it go with a mistrial, they're gonna have to holler at this one.
I'm on the side of the folks that's gonna be willing to go up there and burn down the courthouse with Judge Beacon. I think that's what we got to be with this, right?
Allegedly.
I would join the counterparts on this one right here.
Allegedly. Brother, yeah, I'm speaking for you. Yeah.
Allegedly. Like my brother said. I might have definitely dynamite on.
Allegedly,
I'm definitely want to see how this play out, man. And definitely, I hope that all our counterparts, man, listen, y'all watching this play out, you seeing how this go on. I really want you to go ahead and get activated because this is your time. All right, we looking for you to step up. So, with that being said, for the crash dummy of this week,
yes,
we're going to give it to Kyle Rittenhouse.
Yes.
Judge Bruce Schroeder, and the whole prosecuting team. So
the whole team.
Dummies of the week.
Dummies of the week.
And I hope that stuff pan out the way, man, for those families who lost those.
Yeah, lost those precious souls. Unacceptable.
Unacceptable.
Man. Every soul is a blessing, man.
Yes, it is.
It's unacceptable,
Absolutely.
y'all.
So, man, we moving down into the announcements, and first and foremost, we do have Let's Give Thanks from Christian Love Faith Center.
Okay.
We'll be hosting a dinner, giving away meals. And they're located on 3202 Flushing Road, Flint, Michigan, 48504. This will be November 21st, 1 to 5 p.m.
Okay.
For additional information, you can contact Mrs. Tony Hicks. That's 810-515-0552. That's 810-515-0552.
Good job.
Let's give thanks.
Give thanks.
Love Faith Center Church. So we really appreciate them giving back to the community.
Yes.
We also have the BLM Flint Holiday Drive.
All right. Holla.
You know, we service over 800 families.
That's right. 800. Over 800.
Cars from the building, wrapped around the building.
Wrapped around.
All the way down to the house. We did not even know it was going to be like that, but that shows you the need is great.
Mm-hmm.
So just really appreciate just even being able to get to be a part of that and provide some type of relief in the holiday season. So we coming back and gearing up for another year. We have some information we'd like to send out for those who are looking to donate and give gifts, presents. We are taking new items.
Yes, only.
Last year they tried to dump all the stuff in the basement.
That they didn't want. That wasn't cool. Mm-hmm. Right. Not gonna happen again. We ain't doing that one. We learned the hard way. We sent all that stuff down to Mexico.
All new items, please. You just send a check if you want to donate.
Yes.
We do have our PayPal information. BLM PayPal. We will make sure we have that in the chat. We got flyers out, so we're doing a holiday drive from November 10th to December 15th. So we are accepting new items.
You
So
mean so y'all started
we started
yesterday? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We started yesterday. We'll be running this up until the 15th of next month. So we asking for new items. So that's winter wear, that's coats, gloves, hats, scarves,
Underwear, socks, yeah,
T-shirts.
t-shirts.
t-shirts, shoes, right? All new stuff. And if you want to just send, like I said, if you want to just provide a check, we'll be able to go purchase those items too. And then also toys.
Toys and educational items also.
Educational items more important, but you know, we definitely giving out toys.
No.
But if you want to support the issue or support the cause, come on down to the building. We're accepting those items. We're here at the building.
2712.
2712, right next to Job Corps. Come on down, drop them in the box.
Please.
We are appreciating anything that you have to offer because our children mean a lot to us. Our community means so much to us. Last year we did the food drive along with it. That was a hectic piece too.
Right.
We doing the food.
No.
We will be making sure that everybody has the opportunity to get a gift.
Yes, yes.
So we have this year we are having a registration form.
Yes.
You don't want everybody to pull it up.
Bum rush.
Catch it and run.
You want to do no Travis Scott?
That happened to y'all last year or something?
Yeah. God is good. We learn.
Yeah.
On the job training.
Yeah, it's all right. You know what I'm saying?
Job training. Yeah, right.
That's what counts.
Yeah.
That's what counts. So, but this year, please register. We do have those forms available. You can pick one down up here at the office. We'll make those forms available online.
Yeah.
We're looking forward for another glorious year and looking forward to connecting with the community.
What would be the time to pick it up from the office at the paper if the people want to come down?
Yes, sir. So if you want to come down to the office and pick up a form, we're here in the office between the times of 11 and 5. You can come down and pick up a form and then also fill it out here on the spot. So get you all in. And that form has, if you have any children, boy or girl, sizes, something that they may be interested in to kind of give us a little more insight.
Yeah.
Brother Roberts hooks up really good bags. That's where you give it $100 bag. I'm talking about speaking today.
People smiling.
Man, I said, you must got a bag from Brother Roberts. You got the big Christmas bag. I said, okay. But definitely though, man, it was a good
Yeah, good day. Good day.
Also, we need donations of wrapping paper, gift boxes,
Oh, yes.
tape.
Tape. Yes. Thank you,
gift
Queen.
bags.
Provide those wrapping papers, extra wrapping papers.
Thank you, Queen.
A sack to put it in.
Yes.
We appreciate all of it. And if you want to come down and volunteer too,
We appreciate that too.
we appreciate that for sure.
Yes, yes.
Definitely on the day.
Definitely on the day.
Becky Brown actually said she should give us an update about the race talks from Tuesday.
Oh, yes. Ms. Brown, it was very enlightening. The people were highly engaged. We had about 35 people took part in the Zoom. And so to sum it up, it was basically the educational system has definitely, from its inception, was never equal. So that's, to sum it really up, and that's something that we still continue to deal with across the board. And how do we re-envision that education could be equal based on resources being equally shared amongst the affluent community and the challenging community. So, but it was a healthy dialogue. People had opinions, and we had to really give facts. The facts outweigh, those opinions, because a lot of them people have a tendency to go by what they hear or Fox News. But it was very, very good as far as people were able to learn some things. I think that's one of the good things about the dialogue for the Taji Talk. They were really open for learning, because this one lady, she said she never had never had no kind of Black history. No, she grew up in Texas. She had never read anything about Black people, never in her life, in school at all. And so those are communities like that around this country and around the world. That is a given, but we have to combat that, because in all fairness, history should be inclusive to everyone that can contribute to it. And how can you say that you can only support white history or so-called white supremacist history and not embrace real history? So anyway, to answer your question, it was a very learning experience. I think people got a lot out of it. The next one coming up December the 14th is going to be dealing with social justice and incarceration. I'm going to be the lead host on that. So looking forward to you guys be a part of that one.
That was, from what I heard it was a very insightful conversation. I think that was kind of putting it down and talking about it. And I know that point about education has been a rogue system for us. So hopefully, things change and, through that conversation, some action. So with that being said, do we have any other announcements to make?
Oh
Anything
yes, I'd like to
you want
make
to
a
say?
couple of announcements. Again, on Monday, we will be greeting students at ALA Scott School. That's going to start at 7:30, and then we'll be at Durant Mott at 8:15. So we're asking the community to come out and really celebrate um, and excite our young people because they are our most precious resources. Is our young mind. They are our future, and we got to do all we can to really lift them up, spark their brain, help them to believe that they can believe they can be anything that they set their minds, and they have people around them that's going to support them. So, one thing we would do, all we do practice COVID protocol by staying 6 feet away from our children and one another. But what we try to do is just celebrate them. All we do is just wish them a happy day. We call some of them doctors and lawyers, and we just make it a fun time where they can see adults, and we tell them we love them. Loving on them because sometimes our children never hear um, somebody tell them that they are loved. We used to hug them, and believe it or not, I thought that hugging was a really really good thing to do because many of our children have never, felt the hug of somebody caring about them appropriately. You know what I mean? And I thought that was a strong connection because we did see children change by loving them, hugging them, and being consistent. Then Saturday at McCree Theater, they have an event at 2 o'clock. It's going to be dealing with slavery by another name. So I hope you guys will come out for that. This written Blackman is the author, and again, it's going to be dealing with lynching and all those kind of topics. So I hope you guys come out for that. And then again, we are definitely working on men and women and to walk the halls of our schools. We're really coming up with a idea as far as a men of valor or some kind of moniker, but we need people to come into our schools and help, take a shift where you come in for an hour. Maybe it's your lunch break. We need you to just come in and walk the halls, to be a part of the solution. So again, if you're interested, get a hold of myself or Mr. Robertson. Again, and my number is 810 394 4105. MentorRoberts at gmail.com is my hookup. Give them yours.
Yeah, you can reach me at it. My email, Dewan, DEWAUN, period, Robinson, ROBINSON, the number one, at gmail.com. And we really do appreciate all our brothers. We need the fathers. We call it out. It's a call to fathers.
Yes, yes.
We need you in there. We really just have to have a presence in school. When they see men in there walking through the schools and the hallways, it deters them from really acting out or doing anything. And that's cool. And that's what we want to be for them. We did start, well, we are starting our Rites of Passage program, ABE Rites of Passage program next Wednesday. And we'll have 25 students that's been selected for the program. We really want to help them out with leadership, behavior, attitude,
Mm-hmm.
attendance, right? Just being an overall scholar. Right? Those things is what we talk about as far as doing the work. Right? That's just being involved and engaged with our young people, and not just screaming from the sideline or just hoping that somebody else raise our kids.
Right.
Not only is we raising our kids, but we building with other kids.
That's right.
You know, that's powerful stuff, man. So if you just got a little time, and it's only an hour,
Yeah.
you only ask for much.
Right.
You can just give like an hour. You can give like an hour. You can give like an hour, bro. Fathers, anybody want to be engaged and work with our youth, man? We really appreciate you. We have you sign some forms, and so you have to go down there to get just
Background check.
Make sure that
It's free.
It's free. But we do appreciate your assistance. So give us a call. Come down. Come to the building. We'd like to sit down and interview you.
Right. So put a call out to our fraternities. Again, we're gonna really work on our men stepping up. So it could be fire department. It could be you working at banks or you working in any truck and bus. You can be auxiliary at the church, the men's group at the church, wherever you are. We putting a call out for our men to step up. We would like to see 100 strong. Yeah, out there in the street, we need you guys. There's a place for you. We got a place for you, man.
It's a really good group at this hours, man.
Really is. They can be worked. Yeah, they can. Right. Just need direction.
With that being said, we're gonna close out tonight.
Yes, sir. Well, thank you, my brother. Always a pleasure. Yes, sir. Wakanda out on my end. Holla.
We light it up like arson and sauce and sauce. We light it up like arson and sauce and sauce. Fli-City got some dogs in it, dogs in it, dogs. Fli-City come off authentic. We light it up like arson and sauce and sauce. We light it up like arson and sauce and sauce. We light it up like arson and sauce and sauce. We light it up like arson and sauce and sauce. Fli-City got some dogs in it, dogs in it, dogs. Fli-City come off authentic. We light it up like arson and sauce and sauce. We light it up like arson and sauce and sauce.
My city experiencing a transition from penny pinching.